Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Morning and welcome to a Wednesday edition of the program. Caught up with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Glad you're along for the ride today. We got an action-packed program. We're going to kick it off here in just a second with JC on the Trent Whittemore Hotline. Then we'll have Trent Whittemore and Nay'Quan Wright, one of my favorite Gators, one of the favorite Gators among his teammates. We'll be joining Whit on the weekly Word with Whit. And then we'll be joined by Andy Staples, get his thoughts on some NIL stuff, some spring football, the swimming fiasco in women's swimming, a little bit of everything. But first, let's go to the Trent Whittemore Hotline. If you missed it last night, Gators winning both baseball and softball. We're joined now by JC on the Trent Whittemore Hotline. Good morning, JC. How are you?
Good morning. Yep, ready to go. How are you guys? Let's go.
Where are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go so I can watch Andy Staples. I think Andy Staples is one of my favorites, former Gator player, I guess, and SI athletic writer. That should be fun. I'm looking forward to that, QB.
Yeah, I'm going to get his thoughts on, I know he's a big proponent of the NIL, which I'm not against it in some capacity, but what's going on now is just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if you saw it yesterday, JC, or if we talked about it Monday. I lose track. Yeah. Tennessee apparently has a quarterback, one of the top quarterbacks in America for 2023. Now, remember, 2023, that he signed a $7 million deal with Tennessee.
Well,
that's ridiculous.
Somebody in Tennessee is more than that money. Yeah.
I don't know how it's going. I want to see proof. I want to see proof of it because I think it is absolutely retarded for any booster or any business to pay any kid that kind of money when they don't know if he'll ever be worth a damn and play a down for his school. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous.
Did you read where it was all upfront money, or is this based on performance or incentives, or what kind of money is this upfront?
Well, JC, none of the NIL deals have anything to do with performance-based. It's all about, A&M has reportedly spent, 20-something, 30-something million dollars on their recruiting class. Yeah. Doesn't mean those kids have the money when they're coming. I mean, it's just, it's ridiculous to me. I'm going to get Andy Staples' thoughts on it. And, because you can spend it all and then go to the transfer portal. It's not like you have to pay it back. I have problems with it. And maybe I'm not the only former player. I talked to a buddy of mine that played at the University of Miami yesterday in their heyday, and he has been a former college coach. He's no longer in coaching. He says that was one of the reasons that he will not get back into coaching is because it is ridiculous of what's going on. But it is what it is. If you're going to coach, you got to deal with it. And there's no way I can afford that.
Yeah, well, the one thing is we know the schools can't directly be involved in that, and this is all mostly privately funded money. And I don't know how you stop something like that because anybody's free to write a check to anybody they want to in America. And that's something that I think the NCAA has to get its hands around. There's got to be some contingency rules or something in place that gets this under some sort of control if they want to have legitimacy in football. So that's going to be the challenge the NCAA has to address. Tennessee, for all the news out of Tennessee, we do realize they're still under investigation because of what happened under Jeremy Pruitt. There's a huge thing going on that nobody's really talking about with regards to NCAA violations under Jeremy Pruitt. And Josh Heupel's not really having to deal with that yet or right now. So don't forget about the Tennessee violations that are still out there under investigation under Jeremy Pruitt. So there's that to deal with at Tennessee, QB. But all this privately funded money is something that I don't really know how you get your hands wrapped around it unless you come out with some sort of guidelines if the NCAA has the stomach or the willpower to get involved in that. I don't.
Well, the NCAA, they're a bunch of morons, as we all know. If you missed it, or Monday, I had James Bates on the program.
Right.
He was raising hell about the women's swimming stuff going on, which if you missed it yesterday, Ron DeSantis, the governor of the state of Florida, proclaimed the winner of I don't remember which event it was, but the girl from Florida. And I agree 110,000%.
You should vote for Ron. Well, vote for Ron DeSantis if you like his policies.
Well, I will.
Yeah. Well, I think the 500 freestyle, that was Evan. Okay. Well, Ron is doing the things that I think he needs to do to preserve some sort of integrity in this. I saw the other day, or yesterday, actually, QB, that somebody on NBC, now try to wrap your hands around this. Somebody on NBC, and I hate saying somebody because I don't know the name, but I did read where a person on NBC claimed that Leah Thomas was the next Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, I saw that. That's the most ridiculous comparison.
That's insulting. That's an absolute outrage and insult, and it's insulting. It is nowhere. It's like goes beyond the boundary of ridiculous, and we're enabling this type of thing as opposed to trying to get these people some psychiatric help or some sort of mental help. I don't know if James Bates said that or not, but I think the problem with allowing this to continue is that it enables something that is going to destroy women's sports at some point if it continues. And here's what
I'd like to see at the next. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Jason, but
okay.
It just popped in my head. All right, the next swim meet, which will be next year, because they're done with collegiate. Leah Thomas cannot participate in the Olympic trials and the world this and all that. Swimming goes on year round. But what if next year they haven't done anything to this? First meet, they get up there and swimmers take your mark, and then they blow the little gun thing. None of the other females jump into the pool. They step off the block and they walk in, and Leah Thomas by herself. That's what it's the
only way it's going to stop. I think is if the parents start taking control and start deciding not to participate in this nonsense, because it's taking away spots from women who should be competing, and it's putting women who are competing in uncomfortable positions, not just on the field of play, but how about in the locker rooms? Okay, I have a friend, and you have a friend who have two daughters that play volleyball. Do you think that guy's going to want his daughter, his oldest daughter, or his youngest daughter, or anybody's daughter to be stuck in the locker room with a man? I mean, is that something
Bates did bring that up and said that was an issue with the team, the Penn team. So
it has to be.
Anyway, real quick, JC, because you're on for a brief period today, because we got Trent Whittemore and then Andy Staples. Don't forget today, Gator fans, Todd Golden will have his presser at 12:30 this afternoon. You'll get to listen to his introduction by Scott Strickland, and then his presser at 12:30. JC, let's get to our World Match Play. It starts today. It's our Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. I'm going to let you pick first, JC. It's an interesting event. It starts today and goes through Sunday. It's just match play.
Right.
Who are you going to pick first?
Well, we have, of course, the defending champion Billy Horschel involved in this. He beat Scotty Scheffler last year, and it'd be easy to pick him. He loves this course. But I'm going to pass on him and go with Patrick Cantlay, a guy who I think can putt as well as anybody on tour. I love him in heads up matches because of his putting. Give me him.
All right. I will take Alex Noren.
Alex Noren. But it's the second week in a row you've been on Alex Noren. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go with Justin Thomas. He's hot. He's going to be drawing Kevin Kisner, but if he gets through that, I think he's got a real chance over here in Austin. So give me JT.
All right, you're going with a lot of chalk, I see. I'm going to go with
well, dude,
I'm going to go with Terrell Hatton.
All right, Terrell Hatton. Okay, interesting. All right. Well, I mean, if you're in this event, it's you qualify for it. So these are all chalky type of picks. But I think I'm trying to find edges on this course. Give me Colin Morikawa for sure. I like his game. Give me him.
Okay. Well, if you want to draw edges on the golf course, give me the Texas Longhorn, Scotty Scheffler.
Ooh, yeah. He got to the finals last year. So he lost to Billy Horschel.
Yeah. So, he's a Longhorn. They're playing there. I think this is one of the courses that the Longhorns play on quite a bit. So I don't know if that really matters in this match play, but so you have Cantley, JT, and Morikawa. A lot of chalk. They're all in the top 10 in the world. I got Scotty Scheffler. I don't know if he's in the top 10 yet or not, but should be. And then I got some no-name guys that people probably never heard of, Terrell Hatton, or Terrell, however he pronounces his name, and Alex Noren. So that's our Peachland Dentistry weekend golf picks for the match play. All right, JC, you had a short segment today. I know all our loyal listeners are very sad about that, but we had Andy Staples wanted to come on today. We had to get him on, but obviously on Wednesdays is the weekly Word with Whit. And like I said, he's going to have Nay'Quan Wright, running back, who had a severe injury, but he's coming back. And he's one of the favorites among all the teammates on the Gator football team. So that should be a pretty good event.
Sounds good. We'll when I get back on Friday, we'll have already finished the round of the Sweet 16 Thursday night. We'll get on that Friday.
Oh, yeah, I guess we could have picked some of those games. I totally forgot about Thursday night games. Who's playing real quick? We can do that if you want.
Are you sure? All right. Well,
let's do it quick.
Okay. Well, in the first game, I think we have Arkansas is playing in the very first game. So Arkansas is playing Gonzaga at 7:00 Thursday. The Hogs are getting 9.5, and I'm going to take the 9.5.
I'll do that as well, although I could see Gonzaga blowing them out. You never know.
Later that night, Duke is playing Texas Tech. It's a pick 'em. I think I like the way Duke's playing offensively, even though I'm wearing my Texas Tech hat. I'm rooting for the Raiders, but I think Duke right now is the pick for me.
I like the Red Raiders in this game.
Okay, the other games on Thursday involve the Villanova Wildcats laying 5 to Michigan. This is a tough game, man. That's a good number. But I'm going to stick with
I love the Wildcats. Jay Wright, Colin Gillespie, these guys, they don't mess around during tournament time. I think they find a way to win by 10 or more.
Okay, I'll follow you there with that. And then finally, a game that if you can stay awake, it won't start until probably 10 o'clock, but it involves the Arizona Wildcats against the Houston Cougars. Arizona is laying 1.5 points. I don't know how Houston's doing it, but man, they are fun to watch. I think Arizona minus 1.5 is a pick you can't pass on. So I'm going to take them. But
I like the Wildcats. Houston, I don't know how Kelvin Sampson does it with all the injuries every year, but they're a heck of a team. So, all right, those are our picks. JC, have a good day. We'll talk to you on Friday.
You bet. Okay, see ya.
That's JC on the Titan More Hotline. Going to take a timeout. Come back. We'll be joined by Trent Whittemore and Nay'Quan Wright.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Aikido America, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, Make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another Weekly Word with Whit. This week we got Nay'Quan Wright with me.
Yes, sir.
Pleasure to have you on, man.
Pleasure to be here.
I know some of y'all texted in with some questions. That's great. We'll get to those later in the segment. But to start off, let's talk about where you're from, where you went to high school, all that good stuff.
I'm from Opelika, Florida. I played ball at Miami Carey City High School. Played there my whole career. I didn't transfer anywhere to any other school.
Y'all won state, did you not?
Oh yeah, we actually did get I got a state ring my sophomore year with the help of my teammates. Those guys led it. I just had to run the ball. That's it. They made it easy. The O-line made it easy, and then we had weapons on the outside. That made my job easy.
I got you. Y'all had Randy.
Oh yeah, Randy, man. Great leader. Hell of a ball player, man.
Oh yeah.
He makes it pretty hard in practice, man. In high school, he coming down every play, he filling the lanes, his leadership role. Oh, yeah, he's a great teammate to have, man, and even a better friend.
Yeah. It really sad to see we didn't get to see him ball at all in college.
Yeah,
you know
man,
what I'm saying?
that sucks, man. Well, that's one of those guys that you would want to see, just see him achieve his goals. And I really think that some people may say I'm biased, but I think he would have been a guy that did 3 years and went top 3 rounds. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, he definitely had that type of talent, though.
Definitely.
Speak a little bit to your family. Come from a big family?
I grew around a bunch of girls. My family majority female, so I grew around a bunch of females. So they the ones installed that leadership role and just value them. Yeah, made me value ladies even more.
That's cool, man. Any other sports you play in high school? You ran track, did you know?
Yeah, I ran track, man. I ran 100 meter. I ran a 100-yard meter. I ran a 400. Didn't really like the 400. Yeah.
That's a little far.
Yeah, I didn't really like the 400, man. That once you get back on that curve and you coming down at 200 mark and that monkey get on your back,
it's gonna put a hurting on you.
Yeah, man. I definitely. I didn't really enjoy running the 4, but I ran the 4 to help me with the 100.
Yeah, I got you. What was your best open 100 time?
My fastest times I ran like 10.6, 10.5. So
you made state with that.
No, I didn't make it to state. Coming out of state, man, we had.
What classification were y'all? There's only 4 in track, right?
Yeah, I think I might have want to say we was 3A, but in my classification we had Tyreek Cooper, Jaquez, DeMarcus Fleming. We had all those guys like 10.3, 10.2.
Yeah. That's unreal.
So it was pretty tough getting out of there, man, trying to get to state.
I say Florida. I think Texas has some real speed. I say like those 2 states are probably the only that you can run a 10.5 and not make it to state.
Oh, yeah, man. I wanted to go to state too, but, man, those guys.
Yeah, those guys are moving.
I wasn't running that fast. Those guys moving.
Yeah, no, they're definitely moving. All right, let's get into a little segment we call halftime. A couple this or that type questions. So we got Chick-fil-A or McDonald's. Which one are you taking?
I grew up on McDonald's, I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. $5 get you a whole meal, but
no doubt.
Now that I'm in college, I stay away from McDonald's, so I'm gonna go Chick-fil-A.
Okay, yeah. Chick-fil-A on the red card always does you right. Country versus city living.
I grew up in the city, honestly, but I went. My grandma and her side of the family, my dad's side of the family, stayed in Georgia in the country part of it. It was actually nice though, a couple hills, trees.
Yeah, a little scenery.
A little scenery, but I'd rather the city even more, man.
Yeah, I mean, being from Miami, I feel like that just kind of built it.
Yeah. I'm a little biased.
A little biased. So you say you ran the 100. I'm going to ask, which one would you rather accomplish if you could, if you weren't a football player right now, which one would you rather have? NCAA 100-meter outdoor champ or first team All-SEC running back? Which of those would you rather
have? Track is the individual sport, so I wouldn't say that. I go football.
Okay.
I go football, SEC football. Yeah.
Especially, that's a huge accomplishment. First team All-SEC is a back.
That's not hard. It's hard. It's not hard winning 100 either. So both of them pretty challenging, but I say football. Football, SEC.
Yeah. Here's a good one: cooking for yourself or going out on a Saturday night.
Man, I can't cook. I'm gonna go out. And get me some food, man. Unless unless mom come in town or something like that. If she come in town, then I'm staying there. Let her throw down some good food, man.
So you go home. Who's cooking? Grandma cooking?
Grandma cooking, mama cooking, brother cooking, sister cooking.
Okay, you just eat.
So, I'm just eating.
No,
I just go to the store, get the grocery list, and go to the store and get everything, and then have them throw down. Man, we have a blast.
I gotta say, I gotta get off TikTok, bro. I'm up late watching cooking videos every night.
I ain't gonna lie. I need to learn how to cook though, bro.
I need to too.
I need to learn how to throw down, man.
Let's go. Favorite NBA player right now.
I'm a LeBron James fan. Wherever he go, that's my favorite team.
LeBron all the way. I've been doing that since as long as I can remember.
But I like LeBron outside of football. I just like how he carries himself, how he gives back, how he's a billionaire now, how he's have a school and like things like that. Like outside of basketball, I really like that. I want to strive to at least do something in that aspect that he's doing.
Yeah, no doubt. I think, him and his financial team, I know that's been pretty public. Like, they've done a great job since really his rookie year. And then, obviously, the school back in Akron. There's a lot of stuff that he's done that's been pretty inspiring.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe his financial team is like his friends he grew up with. So that make it like...
Yeah, I think it is.
Even better, man. Yeah. That's kind of dope.
Yeah, it is really dope. Well, let's get to some of y'all's questions. I know we have a good amount of them here. We got Jim with how are you feeling and when will you be back 100%?
Oh man, I can't tell all that when I'll be back, but I'm feeling great actually, man. Physically, I can't run out, but mentally I'm ready to go, man. I can't wait, but it's a process, so I'm just enjoying it, cherishing it, just getting back, getting a different view of the game, and just watching my teammates go to work, man.
Yeah, I think something I've learned in college is like, when you're in the midst of a grind, enjoy that. When you're getting a ton of reps, when you're getting a ton of touches, it might be hard on your body, but you enjoy that. When you got rest, enjoy the rest. So, when you get injured, it's obviously frustrating.
Yeah.
But it's a mental break.
Definitely mental. Definitely mental, man. You definitely, especially with spring coming in, new coaches, you want to get out there and showcase your talent. But I was fortunate to have opportunity last year to get a couple touches and get on the field. So I think I did a decent amount just to be able to hold me off to fall camp and where I could compete.
No doubt. I mean, as somebody who plays out there with you, you've done enough in my opinion.
I definitely appreciate that, man.
We got Bobby with a pretty good question here. He says, I think your high school coach, former Gator wide receiver Aubrey Hill, was awesome. We lost him way too soon. Speak to the impact he had on your life.
Yeah, man, definitely, man. I was a young man coming in, high school coach Aubrey Hill. He was at Carol City. I went on out to Carol City. Actually, I didn't want to play for Carol City. Then after just the conversation we had with him, he was a guy that lived on faith, family, and football. And as I find myself every day, I think I live by those traits, man. Just his leadership role, the way he loved, the way he protects his family, the way he carries himself on and off the field. I mean, it's really not nothing negative you can say about the guy, man. He was an awesome leader. He gave back his time in the community. He gave back money to the community. So, I mean, I'm just blessed to be able to have him in my life and make a positive impact. And still to this day, I'm in connection with him and his wife and his son. So it's great. I'm just gonna repay those guys back, man, with how such of an impact Coach Hill made in my life. Yeah,
man. I was able to meet Coach Hill a couple times just through some youth stuff, coming up through middle school, and then I think even a couple times in high school there before he passed. And it was clear like the leadership he had, how he led the young guys around him. He left an impact for sure.
No, definitely. He was a great guy, man. I really enjoy. I miss him, man. And it's crazy because you don't find too many coaches that's a player's coach, and he had a lot more to live, but God called him on home. Definitely was too soon. That's what I think, but God timing is perfect timing, so we just have to trust Him.
Always, we gotta have faith in that. We have Sheila. What made you choose UF in the recruiting process?
It was out of Georgia and Florida, actually, man. I'm big on family. Obviously, that's what Coach Hill installed in me. He's big on his family. So I just wanted to make it much easier for my family where it don't cost them as much. And Florida's driving distance. They can just drive on. A little 4 hours don't hurt nobody. So, I mean, they can pile up in a car and we could get them here rather than trying to get flights for the babies and nieces, nephews. Nah, man. Yeah. So I think just piling up in a car and getting them here, man, we could have them 10, 15 deep rather than trying to fly in. Yeah. Those prices are going to be outrageous.
Yeah, man, that makes a huge difference just having your family around. I mean, obviously I'm able to have mine around. I'm from town, but Nothing makes me smile like, seeing family after a game. You're really living out a dream playing college football. But to have your family there to see it is special.
No, that's awesome, man. Every time I get to just see my family look in the stands, man, and it's crazy because every game last year, every home game, I was able to spot them in the stands. So, I mean, I look forward to seeing them. If I don't see them in the stands, that didn't happen yet, but if I don't see them in the stands, I don't know, man. Something crazy might happen.
Yeah. I know what you mean. We got Mark who asks, what do you enjoy doing outside of football?
Something I enjoy doing outside of football is just sleeping, man. Rest. I enjoy resting, man. We be in this thing, man. This your job. This your life here. Being an athlete, you have to balance school and sports. So I mean, and then you have to battle the outside ears and everything like that. So I think rest is like one of the top things. And talking to my family, being on group FaceTime calls every week, once a week. So I really enjoy that. I look forward to that, being on FaceTime with them.
Yeah, I think football, college football. How it is today is really a job. You know what I mean? It takes up your time, and it's a tad stressful at times. And any way you can wind down outside of it is always good for you. We have Betty who asks what you're studying right now in school.
I'm studying sports management.
Yeah.
I'm in sports management, man.
Me and you were actually in some classes
together. Man.
Yeah, me and Nay'Quan do some work together. Definitely. You'll probably be a fall graduate, will you?
Yeah, probably fall. Yeah. Maybe summer.
Maybe summer, yeah.
We've
been working together just about the whole way.
Yeah, since we got in this thing, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Been pretty cool.
Definitely.
Well, that takes care of our guest questions. We can get back to some football stuff. What are some moments since you've been here that have stuck out to you on the field?
One of the moments that stick out to me was my first touchdown against Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed that. It just I just had to take all that in, and I feel like I worked hard for that opportunity to be able to get in there. So it was just a rewarding feeling, and then I just want to keep piling them up, and hopefully we can turn this thing around.
No doubt. I've noticed since you've been here, one thing that stuck out to me is really your confidence on the field. I think that even helped me. I remember our redshirt year. You kind of made a name for yourself in camp. I had a decent little camp. We both ended up getting redshirted.
We both scored too. Don't leave.
Yeah, I remember that. And I remember as I was redshirted, that was a long year. And I remember it was just hard to be excited to practice. I mean, the season goes on, and you're not going to play on Saturday, and it was rough. But I remember, you were just always confident in yourself and confident that whenever your opportunity came, you were going to make the most of it, and you were able to do that. And I think I even drew off that going into that next year. I feel like a lot of this game, especially in college, is about just believing in yourself and making the most of those opportunities, don't you think?
Yeah. I think believing in yourself is one of the things I pride myself on. And I'm not going to say that I've been believing in myself. That just comes from past experience and going through different adversities growing up. So as I got to college, I didn't let nothing stop me, nothing get in the way. Like Trent say, that red shirt year was very tough for me. That was my first time in my life ever sitting down the whole year and not playing any football like that. That was one of the first times.
It was different.
And I've been playing football since I was 4, so you can do the math. So that was pretty tough, but I just kept believing in myself. And some days I had good days out there. I practiced. Some days I was frustrated, but I didn't want to just let the talent and the ability that God blessed me with go to waste.
Yeah, no doubt. Last thing we'll talk about. A lot of guys on the team know you as a jokester, kind of a dry sense of humor. How would you describe your sense of humor? What makes you so funny?
What else? I don't know, man. I'm pretty much a guy you ain't really gonna too much see me upset or mad or anything like that. I'm not one of those guys that get mad. So man, I just enjoy laughing and joking, man. I pride myself, man. I like laughing though. I'm not gonna lie. I like laughing, man. I'm gonna laugh about the small things, anything, man. I don't know, man. I just enjoy laughing and smiling, man. I think that's like a form of relief for me, honestly, man. Mm-hmm. Just to not be, because a lot of people are just so uptight and always serious and always mad. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, if it's game time, then I'm locked in, I'm focused. Right. But when it's joke time, I'm gonna joke. And even when it's lock-in time, I'm still gonna find a little bit of joke. Yeah.
Honestly, I'd like to hear you mic'd up for a day. You know how everybody gets mic'd up. You haven't been mic'd up, right?
No, I haven't got an opportunity yet.
We should make that happen because it'd be pretty funny.
We definitely got to get that one to happen. Then they gonna get all my jokes, man.
Yeah, y'all can hear it all at that point. Well, Nay'Quan, it's been a pleasure, man.
Nah, definitely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. We want to thank y'all for bringing in the questions. Like I say every week, try to give me a follow on Twitter. Give Nay'Quan a follow as well. What are you? What's your Twitter tag?
B0SSMAN_5.
Yeah, y'all give Nay'Quan a follow. Give me a follow as well. I'll try to get out next week's guest. We may try to branch out into some other sports, some other Gator sports,
That's awesome.
And hear from some more athletes. So I'll be tweeting that out. Y'all give me a follow, and until next week, appreciate y'all always.
Thank you, guys.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that
Steve Spurrier here. You know, making a reservation at my restaurant is easier than a Saturday afternoon homecoming game against Vandy. You don't have to call or email. Just go to spurriers.com, hit the reservation button, pick a date, a number of guests, and a time. It's so simple, I can do it. In fact, I just did. Maybe I'll see you tonight.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Nike, Regal Cinemas, Le Macaron, Bass Pro Shops, International Diamond Center, Prime and Pearl, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, now serving brunch on Saturdays and Sundays. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. I want to thank JC for joining us on the Titan MR Hotline and also the weekly word with Trent Whittemore. And he had Nay'Quan Wright, which is one of my favorite Gators. He is well-liked among that team. So we appreciate them coming on today. Now we're going to go back to the Titan MR Hotline. We're joined by another former Gator. He used to put his hand on the ground, and he grinded out in the trenches, Andy Staples. Good morning, Andy. How are you, my man?
What's up, Shane?
Doing well, buddy. I just wanted to get you on. It's been a while. Just get your thoughts on some things that are going on in the sports world. I know you have your own show and you're busy. I appreciate you taking the time. First thing, I can't remember who you work for, The Athletic. Somebody in The Athletic did an article, I guess it was Monday maybe or yesterday, about Urban, what all went on in Jacksonville. What are your thoughts on that? Did I lose Andy?
Well, I mean, it's
Evan is Andy.
well, we knew that wouldn't. We knew something was going to have to change if he was going to succeed in the NFL, and he didn't really change any of it. It's like he didn't adjust for the fact that he's men who then was getting into. And, it's funny because those of us who covered him wrote before he got the job that, hey, you're going to have to change the way you think about things from the way you handle losses, because you're going to lose games. It's not going to be like Ohio State where you lost 9 conference games in 9 years. It doesn't work that way. It's going to be hard. And, the other piece of it was you can't coach by threatening in the NFL. That's just not going to work, and it probably wouldn't work in college right now either. So it's just one of those things where some people evolve, and I guess some people don't, and it definitely cost him a chance to coach in the NFL, because I don't know why he thought that would work. I mean, honestly, it just that's the part that kind of confuses me, because surely he's coached enough players who are in the NFL, and he claimed that he did a lot of research talking to his former players who played in the NFL to kind of get a sense of how locker room dynamics worked and all of that. I don't think he listened if he did, because
no.
You would think that you can't just threaten to fire. And listen, NFL players know certain NFL players, not ones with long guaranteed contracts, but they know they're in danger of getting fired every day. Like you don't have to remind them of that.
You're exactly right. It's crazy. I think you're a little lagging there, Andy. I hope you can hear me. My question to you is,
yep.
When you look at what, like, Deshaun Watson sits out the whole year, he still has those accusations against him with all those 22 women or whatever. He just signed the biggest deal in NFL history. So that tells me Urban Meyer, regardless of what's happened, I believe NCAA job will come available for him in a year or two, and some president and AD will sign off on that.
Not one he'd take. He won't get it. He won't get offered any job that he would take. Now, he'd get offered some jobs, but it'll be jobs that he thinks he's too good for.
That's interesting. You're probably right about that. All right, I want to switch gears real quick. I had Bates on Monday, with his two girls that swim for Florida. Ron DeSantis came out and said the girl down in Sarasota is the champion or what have you. What are your thoughts on this nonsense going on in women's swimming? I think it's a disgrace. That's just my opinion. What does Andy Staples think about it?
Well, my thing is, be ideologically consistent. If you're going to say follow the science on everything, then follow the science on everything. And biology is pretty clear on this. If you go through male puberty, you have a significant speed, power, strength advantage. You just do. And it's been that way for a long time, and it's not changing. That's how we're built. So you can't, you can create an open division or something if you want to. Just make the men's division the open division, and whoever wants to be in there can be in there and compete. But if you're going to separate it like this, you have to draw lines somewhere. And I think biology seems like a pretty simple place to draw the lines.
Yeah, that's a good point. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Speaking with Andy Staples on the Titan More Hotline. All right, Andy, here's the one subject I really wanted to talk to you about, because I know, if I remember correctly, you've been on my show. You're a big proponent of the NIL. I'm not against it. I think kids should be paid, for autographs, jerseys, go to Sonny's or wherever, get free meals. I have zero problem. I think they should
be paid for whatever the market thinks they should be paid for.
Okay. Having said that, the reports coming out of this kid that's a 2023 quarterback out of California that's supposedly getting a $7 million deal from Tennessee.
$8
million. I have a problem with that. My problem is because the kid may never play a down.
Not your money, Shane.
And I know
they wasted their money.
Well, I guess that's a way of looking at it, but I just think it's going to ruin college football.
It's not.
Don't you think they?
I promise they'll still have games on Saturday. Did it ruin pro football when free agency came in? Seems like it got more interesting.
No, but the difference is, and like I said, I'm not the smartest guy out there, but pro football, you're pretty much slotted. You kind of know what you're going to be making. Then free agency comes along, and then there's outrageous numbers like what Deshaun Watson just got. However, those guys have played at a high level and have shown that they can play at a high level, and so that's why they're being paid.
Well, when they get drafted, do you know? Seems like quarterbacks
What's
bust
that?
all the time coming out of the draft.
That's true. That is very true. So I guess I do agree with you that it's not our money. Why should I care? I guess because I love the game of college football, and I just
College football will be just fine. I promise you. I promise you it'll be just fine.
Okay, so let me ask you this: How does a school like Florida compete with stuff like that? Are we going to have boosters throwing $7-8 million at a quarterback out of Tampa?
Yes. The multi-billion-dollar industry is going to have to give some money to the performers. Like the TV show that the SEC is going to sell to ESPN for $300 million a year, that one game package that they're going to sell for $300 million a year. The people are actually tuning in to watch going to get some taste of that. So yeah, they're going to have to pay. And you know how they're going to win? By evaluating better. Because think about this. I get texts from all over the country about this. And somebody, a fan of Georgia that I know, was texting me. And he's like, I'm so worried about Texas and Oklahoma. The price of oil is so high. They're going to be able to buy every good player. I'm like, okay, let's say Texas can buy every good player. Has Texas been great at choosing or developing players at all for the last 10 years? Does it really matter if they can buy every good player? You still gotta evaluate. You still gotta coach them up. That stuff still matters. And so you can throw money at people. And remember, this is a new market. This market has been suppressed for 100 years by what the Supreme Court considers collusion. So now we're going to see what it actually is. It will normalize at some point. You know, this is the first deal we're hearing of. So there will be some weird ones until the market finds its level. And because I talked to an athletic director recently, and they were saying, well, the agents are lying, and we don't know, none of the collectives know what the players are actually worth. I'm like, congratulations. Welcome to the life of every private employer in the United States who needs to know what the market is for their employees because they can't collude. So every other industry in America figures it out. I'm confident that this one will too.
So we had a Facebook Live here brought to you by Meldon Law. Andy asked, Andy, who has the potential for the most NIL money among Gator football players? I think that's pretty simple. The quarterback, Anthony Richardson, would you say?
Yes. And he seems to be doing pretty well so far. I mean, that's pretty visible right now. Yeah, I would think the quarterback, and I'm actually in the middle of a project where I've gone through every 5-star recruit. I did the classes of 2003 to 2017, so 15-year period. And I'm trying to figure out if there's a position group that maybe you should concentrate your money on. Is there one that's more of a sure thing than another? And so far it's interesting because I really thought like I'd find that defensive linemen are much more reliable. Like if you got 5-star D tackle, he's much more likely to be successful than a 5-star quarterback. But the bust rate seems pretty similar for most of these things. It's basically a 50-50 shot if you're getting a 5-star, which that's actually pretty good odds when you because it goes down as you go down into 4 stars and 3 stars. But yeah, I would think the quarterback in most cases is going to be the most valuable guy. I think there will be, if a team like when Derek Brown was at Auburn, like I would think Derek Brown would have been the most valuable player from an NIL standpoint. And look, if we're talking about branding and all that, like Anthony Richardson, who is good at personal branding and good at all the social media stuff, he's going to make more than other players just on that alone. But part of this is also the collectives are figuring out, okay, what is your value as a football player? And, you can say, well, that's not what the laws were written for. Who cares? Like, obviously they're being paid for their value as football players. That was always going to happen. So I'd say the quarterback, but I think Shane, it'll probably break down similar to the way the NFL breaks down. Like good quarterbacks will be worth the most. Good offensive tackles, pass rushers, D tackles, corners will be the next one because it's just a matter of rarity and scarcity. It's like any other market. So those are the most scarce resources in the market.
So I was telling JC, I talked to a former Miami Hurricane player yesterday for about 25, 30 minutes. It was on a bunch of different things, but he brought this up. He had been a former college coach and didn't want to get back into the game for a lot of reasons. But his concern, which has been my concern for a long time, hadn't happened yet, but I can see it happening. So let's use let's use the Gators, for example. Anthony Richardson, starting quarterback, having a great year. We don't know what he's making, but he's making a lot of money. Billy Napier, or not Billy, it's not the coaches that do this, but player X, quarterback 2023 out of Tampa Jesuit, signs a $10 million deal with the Gators.
Yep.
Okay. Do you think there could be any issues, whoever that quarterback is, not making that amount of money
100%.
that a high school kid coming in?
Yeah, absolutely.
You think he's going to be okay with it?
I'll be fine with it. It's not my money. So,
well, I know you would, but I'm talking about the competitor.
Well, guess what? That's how every team has to deal with their situation in every sport, except the one where the NCAA colluded to cap the income. So you figure it out. Like, maybe don't do that. Maybe don't overpay the high school kid. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think people are going to realize how risky of an investment these guys are. And the front end money will go down. The back end money will go up because the sure thing is more worthwhile. Now, I would be more worried about you have a guy who has a great year and feels like he's underpaid. He's going to go somewhere else. He's going to transfer somewhere where.
Right.
So you take care of the people who are like, that's the thing. This is all common sense. And eventually they'll figure it out. Like, you take care of the people who are actually performing. The ones who may or may not perform, yeah, you do have to put some in on the front end probably, but you shouldn't put all of it on the front end. I would much rather have a productive player than a futures bet. I mean, it's gambling essentially. Like, you're either going to make a futures bet or you're going to take the sure thing. Take the sure thing. I mean, I know that sounds simplistic, and there will be guys that you gotta pony up to get in on. But here's the other thing about that: money isn't always going to be the determining factor. You know, you see free agents in pro sports. Sometimes they sign for less because they want to be in a better situation for themselves. In this particular situation, now I'll be interested to hear how Nick Saban and Kirby Smart and them are arguing this, because they have an advantage. And they can sell something that doesn't necessarily cost that collective any money. It's not necessarily cash up front. They can sell, we make first rounders. And as good as this money is, being drafted in the first round is much bigger than all of that. It provides a bigger guarantee, especially at the top of the first round. So if you can sell that, you may be able to say to a guy, look, our collective isn't going to pay you what Tennessee is or what Nebraska is, but you have a much better chance of being a first rounder here. And that's going to work on the right kind of player, because they will understand what the investment is. And, you know, there are going to be situations where the guy feels like a can't miss and everybody's going to be throwing money at him. And maybe that's how it works. But I'll give you an interesting example, Shane. The guy who probably had the most NIL stuff going in the country before the season last year was Spencer Rattler. When they're losing to Texas, did Lincoln Riley even think for a second about NIL stuff when he benched Spencer Rattler? No. He threw Caleb Williams right in there.
True. Yeah, good point. Good point. Okay, we got a question here before we let you go, brought to you by Metal Law. John says, Andy, what do you make of the FSU DB sitting out until he gets an NIL deal? Do you think it matters that he is sitting out?
No, I think we make our own choices, and you know, that seems like a bad choice. I go out on a limb. That seems like a pretty bad choice. So, you know, we're all free to do what we want, but our actions have consequences. And if you're going to do something like that, well, you know, I don't know. I don't know how well that's going to go for players. And you're going to have that. You're going to see these leverage plays. I'm fascinated by what some of the dynamics are going to be with NIL, Shane. Like here's the one I think is really interesting. because you got this, and I figured you'd see this with players saying, well, I want a better deal. Like we see that all the time. What happens when you've got a coach on the hot seat and the head of the collective goes, I don't like this coach. I'm going to turn the faucet off for a month or two unless you get rid of this coach. Or here's a better one, because you played in the league forever, Shane, so you would understand this better than me. But I'm fascinated. What if you get dynamics like you get in the NFL where sometimes the head coach and GM are in alignment, but sometimes they're not. And it almost would with these collectives, because they're not supposed to communicate directly. And look, let's be honest, they're communicating with the coaching staffs, but there may be situations where the collective goes, we really love this player. And the coaching staff is like, we don't want that player. And the collective goes and gets the player anyway. Like that would be just like the NFL. And that, by the way, that doesn't work when that happens in the NFL.
That's a great point. Do you think there's going to be, there's got to be some numbers that come out eventually saying, hey, our NIL numbers for, the 2021 Oklahoma Sooners was $22 million. Don't you think there's going to be some documentation where they're going to want these recruits to see what each player or that team has made off
but they're going to lie. Like they're going to lie and tell them it's more than it is. That's I can tell you that right now. Every school will lie in their direction at recruits and say, well, our guys make this, and then it'll be, less than what they actually make, or be more than what they actually make. And then, but then on the flip side, you'll have, let's say a kid's transferring and he's a good player. You'll have his people telling the school, well, school X is offering us this, when school X is like, he'll say, school X is offering me $400,000 when school X is offering like 40 grand. Like you're going to get it from both sides, which, by the way, this is very similar to I'll give you an example, Shane. Like this is why the market will sort of normalize, and knowing the market will be valuable information for agents, for coaches, for athletic directors, and certainly for the people who run these collectives. It's going to be crucial knowledge. Like they're going to have to understand what the market, because they'll know when they're getting bluffed. They'll know when they're getting lied to. Like if I go to the Athletic, that's when my contract is up. If I go to the Athletic and say, I want you to pay me $1 million a year because company X has offered me $1 million a year, the Athletic would just laugh at me, because they know what the market for someone who does what I do is. Like they understand that. So they would know that one of two things is happening. Either I am lying to them or company X is overpaying for me. So it will become a skill that the people who run these collectives need to have, athletic directors need to have, coaches need to have, and the people who represent these players on the other side will need to do that. And the people who represent the players have already been doing that. Like they do it with coaches, they do it with pro players. So they actually understand how it works a little better than the other side. So you're going to see some people get worked here for a few years.
Yeah, well, great stuff. Well, having said that, I don't know what the starting quarterback is worth at Tennessee, but it ain't $7 million. I think they.
Well, and that's the thing. If this blows up, it blows up bad. Like, and that's, like I said, I'm fine with paying it. I'm fine with, it's not my money, whoever. But I will tell you, if this doesn't work, or one of these other similar, and it will happen, because like I said, the bust rate on a 5-star quarterback is like 50%. 50% of them turn out pretty good. 50% of them don't do anything. Like you are flipping a coin basically. And if you put that much money in up front, you could be bound for some disappointment.
No doubt. Andy, great stuff as always. Real quick before we let you go, let everybody how they can check out your work and listen to your show.
The Andy Staples Show is available anywhere you get podcasts. If you want to listen to today's show, if you're a fan of country music, especially a fan of Texas country music, Josh Abbott from the Josh Abbott Band is my guest. He's a massive Texas Tech fan. We got him talking about nearly running into Mac Brown when he was storming the field in 2002 after Texas Tech beat Texas. Really good stuff. Their basketball team's about to play Duke in the Sweet 16. So we talked about that. And then we got Big 12 job rankings later this week. Next week, I believe we got the SEC job rankings, head coaching job rankings. So listen in for that. And then theathletic.com, we got a special running. If you want to get it for $1 a month for your first 6 months, then you go to theathletic.com/Andy Staples and you can read all the stuff because we cover every single sport.
Good stuff, my man. Appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Shane.
That's Andy Staples. Join us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. Hope you enjoyed today's program, folks. Have a great day. We will see you tomorrow.
1st and 10. Matthews, near side, wide open, Alonzo Sullivan. He may go.